Hello and welcome to my channel. I am a new psychic, or rather I'm a psychic who is just newly coming out of the psychic closet. Let's call it that. It's finally time for me, and while I'm not in a place yet where I can physically show you all of me, I want to get these energies out there because who knows who it could help, right? So what I'm going to do today is do element energies during this Sagittarius full moon. I'll do a current energy, some guidance and advice from archangels, from source, and then I will do outcome as well and we're going to start with fire signs today. I already meditated over the cards, over the energy, and did a preliminary reading. And from what I am getting at this time, I feel really intense pull in my solar plexus chakra. And it's a bit of a panicky feeling. It's a bit of claustrophobic. I felt sort of enclosed, like something was touching me on all sides, and I didn't like it. So a sense of uncomfortability, maybe a bit of anxiety rising from that state of uncomfortability, and that state of uncomfortability is spurring you on to make a change. And that's essentially what the whole ascension journey is, right? Just feeling uncomfortable enough to the point that you are so uncomfortable you'll change something, right? And when you do, things get better, but then there's another uncomfortability and you move on. I won't go into all that right now because I could keep talking forever. So we're going to go and get some 3 cards for current energy, please. Current energy for fire signs at this time during the Sagittarius full moon. And interestingly enough, this was the very first card I pulled out on the first go around before I turned on the camera. So it's the Page of Cups. It speaks about a change happening in your spiritual life or in your subconscious life, and that's certainly going on for me right now. And I'm a Sagittarius moon sign, and we're going through Sagittarius full moon. So this is totally what's going on with my subconscious. Water relates to emotions and spirituality, and here we have the fish, which is spirituality speaking to the page. The page represents sort of the first step out of the 1 through 10 of each element of the tarot, and then after 10 comes the page, then the knight, then the queen, and then the king. It comes from patriarchal society, so let's just leave it at that and understand that there are positives and negatives to both masculinity and femininity, the masculine principle and the feminine principle, okay? And that I don't believe that one is above the other, but for the use of the tarot, we talk about that. So what I'm seeing with this is that a certain amount of emotionality, maybe not to the point of giant waves of emotion or highs and lows. We're getting a ripple here, a stronger than a ripple, a wave going that is causing a certain amount of anxiety. And the anxiety is not asking you, but maybe is asking you to look at your cup. How full is your cup? What do you really want? What do you really connect with? Okay, that is a current energy for fire signs during this Sagittarius full moon. Let's get a couple more cards. Okay, we got the 7 of Wands, and that again makes a lot of sense to me. 7 of Wands. Okay, the wands in the tarot deck has to do with motivation, desire, all fire. Essentially, it relates to your element, fire, and the 7. There's a lot of meanings for 7, but in this particular situation, it has to do with the confusion surrounding whether or not to continue standing up for yourself, defending yourself, or to drop your guard, because that is a central issue that many of us deal with. Are we too guarded, or are we not guarded enough, right? Upright, we see here that it is time to stand your ground. Stand your ground no matter the emotion flowing through you. Stand your ground, okay? You see there are 6 wands firmly planted in the ground, okay? And you've got the 7th. And you're in a sort of defensive position. You're fighting for it. So when it comes up with the Page of Cups, I get the impression that you're fighting for a spiritual freedom in a way. You're fighting for a very deep desire to know yourself more. And that requires standing up for yourself in some ways that might be very uncomfortable and you might be very unused to, you know. Connecting spiritually requires a certain level of courage, a certain level of defiance when it comes to the established system. And it's not easy. But that's a current energy, and it explains a bit about the feeling I feel about feeling really anxious, and a bit of the closing in, the walls closing in a bit, okay? Because this suggests that you're defending against that in order to make this connection. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be spiritual connection with the spiritual so much as it can be connection with your subconscious, and maybe even your subconscious desires, as the wands relate to fire, okay, and desire. Okay, let's get another current energy for fire signs during the Sagittarius moon, please, God. Please, God. Another card for energy, current energy of fire signs during the Sagittarius. It's beautiful, strong, intense Sagittarius full moon. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So we have the Queen of Swords, which has come out actually reversed. And I do read this deck reversed as it's the traditional Rider-Waite Smith tarot, and has a lot of standard meanings, so that it's a little easier to read, because oracle cards, say for instance, can be difficult to read upside down. So the suit of swords represents the mind, truth, clarity, all of that. It represents 4th dimension. And the queen represents understanding, a certain level of receptivity of knowledge, of knowing. And especially the Queen of Swords. She knows. She knows. You see how upright, how totally upright in the victorious position her sword is. That is truth, that is mind, that is knowing. You see how clear up here is. That is how clear, the clarity of her vision, okay? She can see far, she understands, she knows, okay? Now, in reverse, we can look at this in a few different ways, but what I'm getting is that others might be interpreting So one thing that this Queen of Swords often represents is a time when you're cutting out, literally cutting out things that no longer serve you, and especially when it comes to the mind, maybe beliefs that no longer serve you, but it can certainly be people too, or maybe there are ideas that you attach to that those ideas are represented in people in your life, and so when you let go of those ideas in your mind, you also kind of, in a way, have to cut cords with or let go of those representations, physical representations in your 3D life, which would be people or situations, workplaces, whatever. So upside down, we're talking about a situation that the clarity has not come through yet. You might still be feeling this sort of choked sensation that I was getting. This like fog was sort of clouding in. I felt like I was being touched on all sides and all places. Well, that sounds gross. You know what I mean? Touched on all sides by something. And I see now that it makes sense for it to be this cloud, right? I believe that this is just a blocked energy that will be uprighting itself through the full moon energy, okay? So the full moon isn't just, the energy isn't just at the time of the full moon. It is several days before, several days after. Some people feel it a week before or a week after. But the point is that it is a sort of a portal, a door of energy. It's not just a moment, right? And so while you're coming in with this desire to connect in and understand your subconscious self better, or spiritually better, or your emotions better, and defend that, you're also coming in feeling a bit confused about it all and unclear. And it might come off to others that you're being cold because of this desire that's been stirred up for something else, something other than these people or these situations, or just other areas of your life that you might be neglecting. Okay? But you're not cold. You're not a cold person. You're not cold for doing this. It's just part of the journey. And if you keep following your intuition, when this full moon portal is over, and likely when the solstice is over, the summer solstice, I think you'll be seeing a lot clearer. Yes, yeah. Oh, definitely. I'd never noticed there's a butterfly in there. That all has to do with transformation. All right, let us get some guidance, okay? Some guidance from God for fire signs for this situation. Guidance for fire signs during this Sagittarius full moon. That kind of came out sideways. Okay. Sorry about that, fire signs, which are Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries. So we were up to B5. Let's see if I can get that in view properly. E5. It's hard to do this on camera. 5 of Swords. Okay. So again, like we said, swords all about verbal, communication, the mind, truth, problem solutions, and air. Okay. 5s are all about change. Let's see. How did I do this again? There we go. All about change. And this card in particular is all about winning at all costs, okay? And while that is at times incredibly important, more often than not, what the lesson here is that we need to pick our battles and remember that winning isn't always the best. Like sometimes we learn more by losing than we do by winning. Sometimes we learn more by acquiescing. Sometimes we learn more by simply listening and not just verbally barfing on somebody all your opinions until they run away crying. So this is kind of about how you're intending to deal with this Seven of Wands. So how you're intending to stand up for this this desire to know your emotions, know your spirituality, know your subconscious better. So it's important for you to defend yourself in this new desire, this new endeavor. It could be love actually, but it's important that you don't trample on other people's rights, their justice, their minds, their energy. It's important not to trample anybody, so it's about finding that balance, and that's why I think it came out sideways. And also, that we're trying to go from a place of fog or cloud to a place of clarity. And you'll see here that there's sort of, we got both here. This is sun, blue sky, and clouds. It's a bit of a mishmash, a bit of a hodgepodge, right? And it's also denoting that this can go either way. You can try and stand up for yourself and these desires by talking down people, or you can defend yourself and your desires by talking and listening with people, right? Then we had the Tower come in, which is a major arcana. Major arcana deal with major issues, major themes of the journey of the Fool, which is essentially the journey of the tarot. Okay, from ignorance is bliss to knowledge is bliss, and fulfillment is bliss. So the Tower is number 16, which equals number 7 in numerology. 7 is can mean a lot of things, and like we've discussed before, it can mean confusion, but it can, or clarity, but it can also mean divine intervention, divine providence. And you see here with the lightning striking the Tower, there is divine providence. The Tower is being broken down, and that is not a bad thing. Sometimes distraction is a good thing, like when the Tower isn't a tower but a prison. Whether it's a mental prison or a physical prison or whatever. These could be beliefs that are being broken down, belief systems that are outdated for you, that they don't work for you anymore. Whether it's that you ought to be this or you ought to be that, or so-and-so wants this for you, or that men should be like this or women should be like that, or whatever. These are this structural system of the way that you think is being broken down, okay? And I think if you try and talk people down in order to defend your desires this week and what you, and this new endeavor or exploration of self or love, if you talk people down, I don't think you're going to get access to the insight that comes. So sometimes you get more out of listening to opposing opinions. Sometimes you get more out of integrating others' opinions with your own, or at least understanding them. Sometimes you get more from listening than you do, or losing, than you do from winning, right? And I think this week, certainly with the Sagittarius full moon energy, I think that certainly you'll win more ultimately in terms of the real stuff you want, in terms of the real truthful information that's going to help you move forward in life. You're going to win more from picking your battles and not talking people down. You want to defend yourself without being infringing on others, right? You're going to win more knowledge, more understanding, a stronger foundation by not aggressively defending yourself, like from a place of hurt, You can defend yourself from a place of confidence, right? Not from a place of hurt. And these insights will be given to you, right? But if you just steadfastly say, no, no, you're wrong, blah, 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 this is, you know, you just won't be open to this lightning bolt, right? To the lightning bolt energy, knowledge, literally a information drop for you, right? And then we get the Four of Cups, okay? And the aces in the tarot are all gifts from the universe. They literally are a hand that's handing a sword or a cup or something like that, one of the elements, out of the air to you. The Four of Cups has to do with sort of being discontent or not being aware or acknowledging or realizing the gifts being given to you by the universe, okay? It's more about, you know, you're kind of focusing on these cups and what's in there and are they full and all this, but you're being handed this giant full cup from the universe, okay? This is in reverse, okay? And I think that this has to do with the fact that, again, it comes full circle. We started with the Page of Cups, okay? You wanting to make this change, to understand love, emotions, yourself, spirituality, subconscious better, okay? And we end with you essentially, if this is you being not recognizing the gift, this is you recognizing the gifts being given to you by the universe, okay? And so I think that this week might be less about being rewarded with new gifts so much as being rewarded with the gift of truths you didn't realize you had, you didn't realize were true, which makes sense with all the sword clarity here, okay? It's starting right now in this blocked position, but if you follow this guidance of not verbally sort of assaulting people into your point of view, you're going to get these divine intervention that helps you appreciate, recognize, and be grateful for things you didn't know were already being given to you by the universe. It might be a part of your subconscious that you didn't realize was so important. It might be psychic gifts for all I know. That makes sense for me because this is what I'm doing, right? I'm coming out of the psychic closet, and I'm a Sagittarius full moon. So the bottom of the deck energy, quickly, was the King of Cups in reverse, okay? And I want to explain that deck really quickly because I went through it already, but my camera screwed up and didn't catch most of the reading. So the King of Cups, he, like I said before, King's the active male principle. It's about not just understanding love, emotions, spirituality, whatever the cups represents for you in this situation, but also acting from a place of understanding love, spirituality, emotions. Let's call it acting from a place of understanding your subconscious, okay? So the king acts from a place of understanding their subconscious and the realm of water, okay? In reverse, I think of the phrase, no man is an island, okay? In reverse, we think of sort of the king as being the man on an island who, although is surrounded by emotions, surrounded by water, you know, he is actually standing on dry land. He feels that way, that he needs to because of the shifting tides that are all around him, that he needs to be on something solid so he doesn't get swept away, all right? But that's not coming from a place of strength necessarily. That's coming from a place of fear that you might get swept away because you're not sturdy enough, okay? But what we're finding out here is actually you are sturdy enough. Actually, you have a lot more to be grateful for than you know. And this week, there's stuff that's coming out of your subconscious into your conscious awareness. But it's going to require you to fight in a conscious way, to fight for yourself, but not fight for no reason, okay? And ultimately, instead of feeling like the water's in pinging and cringing as something like that, it's coming in on around you, you know? And like I was feeling at the beginning of the reading, like something was like claustrophobic all around me, you know, instead of feeling like totally encased and drowning in emotion, and like you'll get swept away by the big tide if you don't have your little island. Where basically this journey this week is flipping this card around, right? This journey this week is getting you to the place where you don't really even need the island because you are the pillar of strength that the ocean waves around, okay? And you don't have to be afraid of the water sort of slowly coming in around your feet there because you're not afraid of it anymore. You know, you found out something about your subconscious this week that gives you strength, maybe just because you know yourself better. And this is the first time I'm realizing it in this card, but the king is dipping his toe in the water. He's not afraid anymore. He can dip his toe in. You know, he is the king of water, so he thought he needed sturdy, solid ground in order to stand on, but he doesn't. He doesn't. Okay, and the last thing that I wanted to do was quickly with this pull one more card for you. We had strength come out earlier, which again related to that solar plexus that I was feeling. Okay, we've had far too much come out, but I can say that what we just had a repeat. So we know we're on the right track here. This is the third time the Page of Cups come out today. And in this card represents the Page of Cups. It's like creativity. I forgot, that's a whole nother... Okay, so somebody out there is supposed to get that message today. Is that this whole change in love, emotions, whatever, can be you tapping into your creative side, okay? And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. It can only bring good things for you, I promise. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please tune into the fire. Oh, we already did. Where are your fire? Please tune into the water, air, and earth signs. If you haven't, you can find sites where you can get your birth chart done for free, and you can find out what your sun, moon, and ascendant signs are. For instance, I'm a Gemini sun, a Sagittarius moon, and a Libra ascendant. All right, and even a Venus. I'm a Taurus Venus, and these things can all help you gain insight into different aspects of your life. The more you figure it out, the more you learn. I am just learning all about it, so I'm no expert, but thank you so much, and blessings on this Sagittarius full moon.